said, my name is Gaydos. I'm with the Angel Venture Forum. I also have my own company which invests in small technologies. What an angel investor is very different than a venture capitalist. Okay? Angel investors invest their own money, and part of that is because I was successful in having a startup company myself, and I decided that instead of retiring, playing golf, doing whatever, I'm out here working with other companies because I think it's just American innovation is just incredible. So what an angel investor is, I put anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000 at a time in a company, and we round up rounds that are just around $1 million. That's the average. It's not the rule. It's the average. Let me pose a question to you. How many of you have an iPad? How many have an iPhone? How many have Bose speakers or Bose noise cancellation technologies? How about ping golf clubs? All of those were small investments. The iPad was an investment from one of our groups. It was originally something called FigureWorks, which was, here's the prototype. Apple didn't invent this. Apple bought it from us. And that's okay. You know, that's great because that's the way the system works. Under this new system, this would not have gotten started because I nor many of my angel investor colleagues probably would not have invested under these current rules. And here's why. Under the proposed rules, excuse me. Under the proposed rules. There is so much wrong with this bill that it is absolutely incredible. It's almost, you don't even know where to start because it just attacks entrepreneurs and startups from every single angle. If it doesn't get them on the front end, it gets them on the back end. So here's primarily what we as angel investors, where our issues are, is one, it shortens what's called the grace period. Now, in the bill, it actually says that people are saying that it does remain within 12 months. But what happens is that the first to file and some of the other provisions they're on actually make that grace period shortened. As an investor, I rely on that grace period where an entrepreneur or a startup company can try out its product. Okay? It can come to me, present, pitch, ask for investment without actually having a patent or even a provisional patent. I mean, we like to see patents and provisional patents, but sometimes the nature of invention is that when you're inventing something, you go down one pathway, and when you find yourself at the end of a roadblock, you sometimes have to start back in the very beginning and turn in the other direction. So the nature of invention totally precludes this altered grace period. It just doesn't make sense. So what that does for me as an investor is that an entrepreneur in a startup company, somebody who has just an idea, now has to, in order to protect himself, patent that from the very, very beginning. So if I'm investing $100,000 in a company, here's a company that is going to cost $50,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on the nature of the patent. It's not simply a filing fee where, you know, it's the application fee of $55. It doesn't matter whether it's free, doesn't matter whether you guys gave me 10 bucks back as a company. It's going to cost me $50,000 on an average patent of relative technological significance. So that means that my money is going not into buying inventory, hiring jobs, renting office space, having marketing staff. It's going straight into doing paperwork. So an entrepreneur is going to have to, when he is doing it, he wants to protect his company, he's going to have to paper trail his way like breadcrumbs. Instead of breadcrumbs, these are $10,000 to $20,000, $50,000 breadcrumbs. It's prohibitive. So am I going to continue angel investing under that scenario? Probably not, because when you're talking about how you cannot, in this grace period, talk about your product, you can't go out, you can't sell it, you can't get market acceptance. Well, I as an angel investor don't buy something until, or invest in something until I see that it has some market acceptance. So using the example of the eye gesture pad for FigureWorks, they were selling, I think, about $25,000 or $50,000 worth of product on the internet, and it was growing. It was growing. So this again would have precluded them from creating this technology. So that's one side. Now you have, and that's combined with the first to file. The second thing is the post-grant review. This wasn't difficult enough for me as an angel investor to invest in a company that can't do a prototype, can't develop its technology without spending money and going out the door to absolutely nothing. They start to do something that's called post-grant review, which opens up the process and extends the process in which someone then can challenge what this technology is. So am I now going to invest that you made it harder for me on the front end, harder for me on the back end, and then, combined with the increase of capital gains taxes on this, it's like buying a lottery ticket and having to pay extra money to get your ticket back. It's an absolute disaster. The other thing on a more global scale is we talked about this before about American exceptionalism. The fact is that you can come to this country with just your mind and be able to create something has made this nation the most incredible and most prolific inventors in the world. So, we say we're going to harmonize with the rest of the world. The reality is that when you harmonize with the rest of the world, we're actually lowering our standards. So, are we going to now harmonize our human rights? Are we going to harmonize, our economic, situation? The reality is that, this is the most incredible country in the world, and we are absolutely destroying innovation and destroying an entrepreneur's desire to do this and the desire for me to invest in it. The last thing which I wanted to touch upon, which they touched upon, there's a number of articles in here that recently about how foreign investors or American investors are actually now investing abroad. It's absolutely stunning that what, let me pull this up here, the Wall Street Journal, I'll be glad to send this to anybody who's interested. The fleeing to foreign shores. It says here, Riva Medical, a maker of medical devices in San Diego, wanted to go public last year to raise money, but they couldn't. They found little interest in the U.S. for early-stage medical device companies that have not yet made a profit. So what Riva Medical did was they went abroad and went on another exchange. This is what's going to happen, is that if you can't find money from here in the United States, there is plenty of Asian money ready to invest in our technologies. And, and I find that tremendously troublesome because then we can't even protect it here. The very last thing I want to mention, in fact, in February, Judge Paul Michel, former federal judge Paul Michel, chief judge, had some testimony in February, and he had it absolutely right. He said, we need to focus on what exactly is causing the decline. This bill and this proposed legislation does absolutely nothing to solve the problem. The problem is that there's a patent backlog. That means that the companies are inventing, people are investing, and what it means is that government's not doing its job in getting these patents examined fast enough. It's not the rules that are the problem. It's the speed in which these patents are getting examined. Part of that is because there's an incredible lack of technology over in the patent office. And getting back to what these gentlemen said is that if we think the CIA got hacked, we are going to, with these change of rules to do first to invent or first to file, we are going to be dumping all of our technology, early stage technology, before it's developed, before it's had investors in. We're going to be dumping all these ideas into the patent office so that somebody else in the other parts of the world can just come in and take them. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We are putting our water in a rusty bucket. So if anything, this legislation should be delayed until things are resolved over in the patent office. It's just, again, there's just so many issues here that one can touch upon that this is just a disaster for the U.S. economy. And as one of my colleagues said, is that we always sit here and we say, gosh, remember when we used to make things in this country? Well, what's going to happen is that in the next 10 years, I'm afraid that we're going to be sitting here saying, remember when we used to invent things?